Welcome back, and you won't believe what has occurred. So, we are gonna have to do a rundown and speed through of everything because my audio did not record. So, I'm gonna have to do this and cut and paste all little tweaks here and there. So let's just get started with the summary. So we start at the school where Kevin and Eva are discussing that Dexter and her, whatever the popular girl is, are getting into an argument. So we cut back to them talking in an argument. She doesn't appreciate him. She keeps calling him stupid. He doesn't like it. And it's vice versa. So they just start to babble along, and he just had enough of her crap. And he just said, of Roxy, that's her name. And he was just like, you know what? Enough, Roxy. I had enough. I don't give a shit about you. Just no more favors, no more anything. And she gets pretty pissed about this. We then continue helping our science teacher into her whatever creation she needs to come up with. And to do this, we ended up needing the intelligence skill. Now, this took me a while to understand how to get it up. But, no pun intended. But eventually I figured out that you had to get the component from the computer, fix your computer, and slowly play a video game that took very tedious work to get your skill up enough. We then first time enter to Planet Thickness at the gym. Here we talk about with Jenny's ex-boyfriend Cedric, who clearly is a bit of a muscular douchebag that says, hey, you want to train with the big guys? You're gonna have to, bulk yourself up. Me being quite scrawny, or my character Jamie being a bit scrawny, this is gonna take some time. While at the gym, we finally meet this Tai Chi instructor that is honestly just a perverted weirdo that wants women's panties. Now, in order for him to help train you and get your agility skill up, he requires panties in return, as this is the first step into our wonderful, adventure with this very strange individual. We then see Eric's landlord, who's doing yoga as an instructor at the gym, and kind of have a small conversation with her backwards and forwards again about how she's fit and how I just came to say hi since I saw you. We then meet Eric's landlord's one of her students from the gym, Anna. And Anna comes up later in the game just so you can see a little bit of, a segment of with what's happening with her, but this is just the introduction part, so she's linked in with Eric's landlady. We then head back to Miss Baguette's class, or Baguette, forget her name, the French teacher, and she's actually talking about having a dictionary again and doing the classes afterway. So this again had to reread and just kind of fall through to it, but she just basically stands, go to the library, find a book, please. We then find Miss fucking Saddlebags of the principal actually yelling at the music teacher and tapping on her titties as normal, actually complaining about the talent show and how that no one really showed up or created anything of it, and she wanted us to cancel it since she's just wasting money and she'd rather put it to other academic studies. The music teacher's upset, and luckily and behold, we come to the rescue. We get quite excited, so we say, let's apply for the talent show since I can then boost my grades. But in order to do that, I wanted the drums. However, someone already picked the drums, so she suggested someone for me to play the flute. This being the last person to have the flute was Judith. Now, Judith as well, been using the recorder not for its intended purposes and kind of been being quite experimental with it, therefore breaking it. This leads on to the start of the journey of actually recreating a flute ourselves out of a piece of wood. Now, here, Judith actually asked us to pretend to be her boyfriend to take some pictures since she was being bullied at school. We clearly show that this is not, we clearly can understand as a player this is not the case, but this is in order as well on the storyline to actually obtain her glasses that was needed for Miss Okita, the science teacher, to actually create them since she has far and near and far sight issues. Now, meeting in the office, again, the lady Anna that we spoke to at the gym said her dog has gone missing. With using the cookies that we had in our backpack, we actually managed to find. And this is Osumo, the little puppy pug. And obviously is a bit of a derpy face, but super friendly, super cute. As promised, we return the sumo to Anna, and she is quite grateful and hopes to give you a reward at some stage for your help and your kindness. Upon learning that we helped, we actually could obtain the flute, which was clearly damaged, obviously intended of indicating it smelled weird. Eric then helped us to understand that we just needed to make a new flute. In doing this as well, we could pick up the glasses that was promised at Judith, since we took her on a date to take photos. Clearly, Okito was happy with this because this is exactly what we needed, and she created to make us her test guinea pig or to do her hard wordy work. This is where we learn that you need the intelligence skill to create something or it will fizzle out and smoke. We continue as well meeting Eve at the park in the evening as she talks about her art and just how she's been going through school. She's clearly just going through a tough time. Her sister's going through a tough time herself, but clearly showing a positive strength and being her role model and her superstar in her mind. We could see kind of a bit of the character development, a bit more interest of these two characters getting to know each other. So she's quite the chill vibe, and my character is just, day to day going about his day. We have them just understanding and just having a look at her art, which she then shows that she's happy to share, which she usually describes that she doesn't share it at school. I guess just her confidence being alone. So obviously her arts are amazing, and it's an inspiration from her own sister who's just going through a tough time, and she feels that she is her hero. We then get introduced to the really dopey kids of the school, and this really black Jamaican guy clearly has a thing for Eve, but Eve is really not interested, but he's just not laying down, is a complete utter douchebag to her. Eve is clearly not happy, gives him the root finger, and our character Jamie just tells her to just cheer up and just don't pay attention to what they say. They're just idiots being idiots. And thus the search for these panties for the weird instructor came to an end, as we found them quite easily. Next day we meet up in the kitchen. Jenny's being a bitch as usual, wanting to try a juice cleanse to trying to lose some weight. However, that's not going to work since she is using apple juice to cleanse it. Debbie is also being quite upset because of the stresses, and Jenny is just being rude and an utter bitch to her. Finally, a knock on the door actually comes in to describe how the mob is involved, or who actually owes money. So this guy is clearly from a Russian gangster, and he's just one of the goons for the actual boss. He then describes that if we don't get our money, things are not gonna be pretty, and our character is like, what the F is going on? At this point of the game, he's clearly identifying himself as he's a mob boss, his dad owes him money, and he's given me the nickname of Little Rabbit, which for some reason just works for everyone. Cops come, and clearly nothing comes of it. He just states, hey, you're not arresting me, I'm gonna just go. And the cop lady was just trying to do her job, and clearly it's honestly just a shit show again. Again, she's just authority, can do protection, keep an eye on where the cars are and the goons, but really they can't really chase after him or even take him in. So this is clearly she's talking to her boss, and she just has to break the news. This is all I can do. Jenny, along the same lines, just asking what the hell's happening, what's going on. Clearly shows some care about her mum, but also at the same time is just saying, why is me, woes is me, this is not fair for my life. We then cut back into school, and Eric has just gone from gym, basically saying that Miss Bridget, the gym teacher, is looking for us. Oh, well, that's fun. So as we travel there, Bridget just wants to know if we're doing anything, and because we've been increasing our skills a little bit at the gym, we managed to do 4 push-ups this time. She said not bad. We went from pathetic to weak, so still not good, but hey, what can you do? Then we have our poor friend Eric having to be kicked out of the men's room because the girls wanted to use the showers, and his clothes is unfortunately there. So our friend just has to kind of sort that out with them. Then we have Roxy telling her girlfriends, what am I going to do? He was just an asshole. Dexter was just being a complete douchebag. Yada yada yada. So then they were like, why don't you just flirt your own way or do your own work and blah blah blah. What are you going to do? Can't you just do this, do that? And she was like, well, I don't want to flunk. We learned that the homework stealing she's been doing is from her best friends. She closed besides the strip. We get a good action show, which will be nicely blurred for everyone. Now, after getting a bit of a glimpse of Roxy, we are then in trouble because we need a shower ourselves, but Roxy has claimed the showers herself. And these two minions of hers aren't letting us through, therefore feeling that we actually have to increase our charisma skill somehow. They confide, and clearly one of them does have the hots for us. And the other one's just like, are you serious? And she's like, yeah, of course. Back to Keto, we try again, and we fail multiple times. Here we're just looking at our own stats, seeing how things are going, and how we are traveling along. It's gonna be a long journey. And then we continue talking to Kevin. He helps us get some strength training since he's sometimes in the gym. This is known to be usually around the evening times after school. And obviously there's now then mini games that you have to press the spacebar in order to get to the next level. We talk then to the crazy guy, giving him the panties, therefore so he can train us in Tai Chi or whatever it is. But it apparently could increase our agility skill. Clearly, as we converse, he does the sniff test. He does as well, to the extent of even eating and chewing the panties from Debbie. And he just describes how this woman is very mature and would clearly do anything for our character, which highly shows her personality throughout the game. We then went down exploring through the beach, and clearly there's Roxy and the other girls there. They seem to be having a fun time, but they just say, go away, loser, and what can you do? Back at the garden with Debbie's friend, she's actually starting to become very flirtatious with us and very open about her produce and her ideas. And she gets quite flustered with the amount of work that we can actually accomplish with her. In doing this, she starts to be very playful and very distracted with our appearance. And clearly around this stage, Diane is giving our character bedroom eyes and is actually clearly fantasizing and flirting with him, giving him cute pet names and nicknames, but also describing how old she is and that she wishes she was so young again. And just feeling like she's getting some petty, compliments from us. This continues as she wanted to see our body and see how we are working out. She then gets a hose and proceeds to be playful with us. This ends up in a chasey and a bit too much risque friendliness, with our character being clearly wedged into her own bosoms. We get back at the house talking to Debbie, as our eyes obviously distract always on her bosoms as normal, and we talk about just what's going on and what we're going to do, as well as doing some house chores for her. Clearly as well, Jenny also has her own issues with gaining money and doing things independently. She then asks for our help, that she looks into an app called Sluttygram, and actually asks us to take a couple pictures of her. This leads into an argument saying she should just go to work and that she needs to be independent herself. Her mum, Debbie, is actually upset, as we just kind of brush it off as a character thinking, well, what can you do? She's a bitch. Back at the Tai Chi place in the gym, we're training our butts off to get our agilities up, where this really crazy guy kind of describes then his whole method to this madness and why does he have this kind of panty obsession. We finally go to meet the librarian at the library, and she helps us to describe that if we ever need any academic help or finding books, that she's your girl. She's quite friendly and quite goofy herself, not really of a very much attitude, but really friendly and quite an energetic energy-wise. Upon reading in a few of the books, we found something that could be decoded or that's looking literally like sacrificial something out of The Witcher. Upon looking further, we are greeted upon two guys having at it at the library, and our options was either to tell the librarian or to eagerly watch on. For my own sake, I said watch on. Eventually they are anyway still called out, and the librarian just says, hey, just keep it between us. I can't be bothered losing my job. That it's apparently quite a popular place to get down and nasty with these young folk. I then told the librarian about the dictionary, how it has missing pages. She gives it to me for free, saying, hey, that's all good. We'll just get a new one ordered. Maybe ask one of your students to just photocopy the missing pages. Soon after, I met up with Captain Terry and his wife, and he just gave me some pointers about fishing and another way to make some easy, quick bang for my buck. We then head back to Debbie, asking her generally what does she need help with anything, how's things been going, and usually everything's just the same old. We finally see this guy again just driving by, gives us some more threats, actually tells us that we're really gonna get it if we don't pay them back, yada yada, just the whole normal shebang. We clearly tell Debbie about this, and we just wait in our own room today since it's just been a bit safer. Call the police, yet nothing much really happens. My character's worried, can't really focus his mind on anything else at this stage, but you just gotta move on. Later that night, we hear Jenny having a commotion, wondering if someone's actually in her room with her. Unfortunately not, but also fortunately, she was just getting herself some excitement and just entertaining herself. We get caught as normal, and she proceeds to hit us. Back at Debbie's garden, she's getting really friendly with us and really kind of start to build a bond since our last little playful incident. And she's just been telling us how she's felt, a little bit about herself, nothing out of the ordinary, and she just in her garden fanatics, and yeah, just proceed. Finally, we get along with the chore that Debbie asked us to do to mow the lawn. This is the first, I guess, cutscene to show just kind of the interest and the attention to detail that we're giving for Debbie, and she kind of starts getting a little bit of feelings towards us. Heading into next scene, Debbie insists we take off our clothes to get a good wash down since we've done really hard work at the garden. Our character gets a bit of a hard-on because of what he sees, yada yada, and it proceeds to show that she even insists on him taking off his boxers. Still no luck with these girls, trying to find a way to get past them to proceed with the story, what they give, and with Roxy. Not much to be said in this chapter. Next, we finally find Jenny having an issue with the pipe burst in the bathroom, and Debbie asked us kindly to fix it, so it's everything, so they kind of see his manly instincts kick in. get to work to repairing the broken tap, and we slowly get to see Debbie and Jenny looking us behind and actually seeing how we are actually putting in effort and wanting to help in the household. Here we finally get stopped by the mob and his goons, again stating that we are a little rabbit and just like our dad likes to chit chat and nothing is coming of getting some payments. He then proceeds to rob us, and we actually end up with this big bold guy actually touching our pee-pee. The communication between these two goons clearly show is quite comedic, being one a bit more dominant, smarter, brain-headed, the other one being a bit more, I guess, airheaded. Here, like I said, he's touching our pee-pee. And first time we see this Tony guy, so he's clearly just a pizza delivery guy, but as we slowly get to talk, he kind of steps in saying, like, what's the matter, what's going on, and he actually reveals himself to have a personalized tattoo on his chest, which kind of gives these Russian goons I guess, the motto to back off. Back at home, Jenny is clearly not caring about these goons and that they keep robbing me from my money from Debbie's work. Then I claim this to Debbie from Diane's work. I claim this to Debbie. Debbie is really shocked and scared, and she felt as well that this is unfortunate since now we're in issues. She actually put her house up for sale and actually getting a loan from the bank, and she did pay these goons $250,000. Now we are all in a little bit of a debt crisis, and that's what we got up to date for now.